Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Are you below 100%? Have you not taken a look at your current situation with regard to your disability compensation? Have you never filed a claim because you weren't quite sure exactly where you fall into it and how to deal with it, navigate it? I wanted to talk about a few things here. One, the misperceptions of 100%. That is not the maximum. It is not reserved for the worst of the worst situations. Therefore, you should think about, do I have a path to it? Why? Because there's a bunch of additional benefits that come once you hit 100% permanent and total, which is beyond the monthly compensation aspect. Different things pop up, such as your tax exemption in your state, maybe your vehicle registration fees being waived, your Chapter 35 educational benefits for your spouse, your children, additional health care coverage for your dependents through CHAMP VA. There is a lot at stake by leaving it on the table. Listen to me here. We will provide you a free email consultation, and we guarantee that you will get an increase. There's nothing to lose. Reach out to us at Evidence-Based VA Claims, and I will put that information in the description and in the comments. Before we start rolling on this, I do want to throw out a special thank you to Wireless Sunday 9897. Thank you so much for the super comment, super chat. I really do appreciate your support very, very much. Wireless Sunday 9897. All right, so jumping into it, two things I'm going to talk about here. I guess that's four. Two things that I want to talk about here is evidence-based VA claims. And I guess in that realm, we'll also talk about some misperceptions with VA claims in general. And then I'm also going to talk about evidence that you need from a medical perspective and what you can do to really ensure that you're getting the right information. And so I'm going to front load it with a couple things, and then we're going to dive a little deeper into it just because I know everybody has shorter attention spans. With that, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. The two asks are really, look, hit the thumbs up, let the video run. Those two things really do help to spread the word to those in need. All right, so to front load it a little bit here, I'm going to say this. If you cannot find a capable and competent veteran service officer or organization that's accredited with the VA, if you can't find one, then come to us. We are happy to help you. Evidence-based VA claims. Again, the information is in the description and below. The next kind of front-loaded piece here, just really super condensed. Garbage in is garbage out when it comes to your medical evidence. Simply asking your doctor to write a Nexus Letter or complete a DBQ is not guaranteeing you that you're going to get the information that you need as it relates to the VA, specifically to the rating schedule that you're being rated against by the VA. So if your doctor can't, won't, or doesn't understand exactly what you need, and they're not willing to sit down and have a conversation, and they don't have the time to look through the rating schedule and all of that stuff, use American medical experts. They are board certified doctors that are hyper-focused on claims type evidence, okay? Whether it's Social Security, disability evidence, or if it's for your VA disability, right? That's what they do. They understand what the VA, in this example, they understand what the VA is looking for. And they know how to articulate it in a way that's appropriate so you could be rated appropriately. All right, so that's the two kind of front-loaded versions there, and all that information's in the description and in the comments below. So now I'm going to talk about, on the claims side of the house here for a minute, some of the misperceptions, and then, again, the risk-free aspect of evidence-based VA claims, which is a no-brainer. But first, let's talk about some of these misperceptions out there. And remember, not all of us are rated with the VA, right? It's 70-ish% are not. So there's a lot of individuals that are listening to this type of information, maybe for the first time, and maybe we're sharing information with folks, and there's a lot of misperceptions out there. And these misperceptions come from all over the place. The words that we use, VA disability compensation, right? Disability in our own minds makes us just automatically focus to physical ailments, most likely loss of use of a extremity or the loss complete loss of an extremity, right? You're missing a leg, you're missing an arm, what have you. And then I would say over the course of the past, decade, there's been a really good push on mental health, and really recognizing that as that invisible wound, right? So really, it's those two things that people tend to think of when they think of VA disability compensation. Now, I get it. Most of you don't think that because you've watched a thousand of these videos, other people's videos, you've done your own research, you filed your own claims, but there is a larger portion of individuals out there that think this way. They think, well, I'm not missing an arm and I don't have PTSD, so I don't rate VA disability compensation, even though I did 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, 10 years in the military. I don't have anything to rate. So it's a misperception because that's simply not true, right? You could file for a bunch of different things depending on the circumstances, right? So it could be loss of hearing. It could be tinnitus in today's world. Here we are in October of 2025, and we're still waiting for those changes to happen. But tinnitus is a rateable condition at 10%. Migraine headaches, your sleep apnea, diabetes, what else? I mean, there's the list goes on. So arthritis, back issues, musculoskeletal problems. So the whole point here is that if you have a condition that is chronic in nature, that you can point back to your time in service as it either causing it or making it worse, or your condition manifesting during your time in service, you have a good shot of getting that service connected. Now, I've done examples thousands of times. I'm going to do another quick example, right? So the problem here is people, again, think that it can only be physical ailments or, that were caused by my military service. It's not caused by, it's manifested during or caused by your time in service, right? Or made worse by your time in service. That's really kind of the three-pronged approach I want you to think about when it comes to your conditions. Did it manifest during my service? Was it caused by my service? Or was it made worse by my service? Those are kind of the three elements that you want to think about when you're looking at service connection. Now, another misperception out there that really kind of guides people, I guess, away-ish from VA disability compensation is the 100% designation. It makes you think that 100% is, in fact, 100%. There is nothing more. That is as far as you can go. It's the worst off that you could be, so therefore it's reserved for the most chronic and horrific situations. And that's not true either, because that's what SMC, Special Monthly Compensation Rating Schedule, is for. So if you're not fully aware of how it works, you don't realize that, and you think 100% is the maximum, and then you might see somebody who's rated 100%, and you might think to yourself, well, you're not the worst of the worst. How is that even happening? So it makes people kind of veer away a little bit because of misunderstanding and just the unawareness. The next misperception out there is that, well, I'm kind of okay. I'm alive. I have a job. It's okay. I'm fine. Leave it for somebody else who needs it, right? You hear that a bunch of times. I won't take mine so somebody else could have theirs. That's not how it works. It sounds like it's this unselfish act, but it's that's not how it works. So, in fact, there's almost an argument on the other side of that. If we don't use it, we're going to lose it. So you need to use it to keep it in place for those behind us, is kind of the way that would actually transpire as well. So when you think about, I'm going to talk about one more thing with the claims. I'm going to jump into evidence-based VA claims, what we do, and then I'm going to jump over on the evidence side for a second. So when you think about your disability compensation claim, there's different things, right? So you have presumptive conditions. We're going to leave that out. We're going to look at direct service connection. This is the military. During my military service, I had something, arise in me, right? So what the VA is looking for here is a few different things. They're looking for time in service. When did you serve? Give me your DD-214 or DD-214s. And they're going to look at those, make sure your character of discharge is in line. And then they're also going to look at your dates, date in, date out. Okay. Now, and that's the basics. Now, there's other times that they'll look for different awards for things, right? That they can, for presumptive conditions, right? That you served in a certain war zone or what have you. But we're leaving presumptives out. So basically, they're looking at the dates to get a window of opportunity, right? I entered here, I exited here. So that's my window of opportunity for service connection, direct service connection. Okay, the next thing they need is a diagnosis, right? You can't really just self-diagnose and say, I have this, rate me for it. You would think that the VA would lean forward and do all the medical stuff and really help tie that together, but really they don't. So don't think that that's really going to happen. Build your evidence yourself, control your evidence as you're moving forward. That's my advice. So get your diagnosis. If your doctor prescribes you anything, go fill that prescription and make a copy of that and add that as evidence that you're taking prescription X. Why? Well, at a minimum, it just double downs on the fact that you're diagnosed for that condition, because the doctor's not going to prescribe you something for something that you don't have. So it helps with that. But then also, in some, not all, but in some cases, having a prescription, a prescribed medication to treat your condition gets you to the next level in the rating schedule. And if you leave that out, well, you might get a lower rating. So just something important to think about. The next piece here is your nexus. Now, you're going to hear the words Nexus Letter a lot, and you're going to hear Nexus. They aren't the same thing. A nexus is required. A Nexus Letter is not required. Okay? A Nexus Letter helps you to prove the nexus. What the nexus is the nexus is the link between your diagnosed condition and your time in service, that window of opportunity, right? That is the nexus. So they want you to prove that your diagnosed condition, again, 3 prongs, manifested during your time in service, was caused by your time in service, or was made worse by your time in service. Prove to the VA that, one of those. Now, if you were diagnosed during your time in service, right, that window of opportunity, you're diagnosed in the middle of it, that in itself creates the nexus. It showed up during my time in service, here I am. Or if you had some sort of an event and you got injured and it's all documented, and then you had your medical stuff and all that, and that whole picture is there in your time in service, the nexus is solidified. Now, a lot of us don't go get the lesser situations taken care of appropriately, right? We self-medicate. We work with the corpsman. They hand us a handful of Motrin or whatever, and we move on. So a lot of times we don't go, if we can avoid it, we don't go to medical and get things documented. So what do? We rub dirt on it. We move forward. We get out. And then years later, we finally go get diagnosed. Well, now your window of opportunity is here and your diagnosis is over here. There's an issue, right? Because it's not clear that your condition manifested during your time in service, was caused by your service, or was made worse by your service. So what do you have to do? You need to work with your medical provider to provide you a Nexus Letter is helpful, right? So this is where Nexus Letter comes in. Again, garbage in is garbage out. My suggestion is you either need to be up to speed with it and explain it to your doctor. Your doctor needs to be receptive and then be able to articulate it on their letterhead appropriately. Or you can work with AME, American Medical Experts, and they can knock it out for you in an appropriate way. So, in addition to a Nexus Letter, you need to kind of spell out the story, is the way that I look at it, right? You need to think about the story that can explain to the VA how your condition either manifested during your time in service as a result of your time in service or made worse by your time in service. So you need to write a statement yourself explaining it, right? Let's just use something easy like migraines. So you have migraines. You started getting them during service. You went to your corpsman or medic. They gave you handfuls of Motrin. You learned that behavior. You started just going to the grocery store, buying Motrin yourself. Then you got out and you just kept doing that. And then finally you went and got diagnosed. You would write that story out. It was frowned upon to go to medical, so I didn't. I went to my corpsman, my medic. They gave me Motrin. I went to the grocery store. I just kept buying Motrin. I just always had Motrin, and I took Motrin, and that's what I did. So it's explaining why you didn't document it during your time in service. Then you're going to have buddy statements, people that maybe knew you during your time in service that you served with that could attest to their knowledge of you suffering from migraines in this example. In addition, family members can write letters, statements of basically the same thing, attesting to their knowledge of your migraines. So now you have some lay evidence and you have some medical evidence to supply with regard to your claim. Now, does it mean that the VA is going to get it right the first time? No, it doesn't mean that. Sometimes they'll screw up and they'll deny you. You might need to do a higher level review. You might need to push it to a supplemental. You may need to kick it to the board. I will tell you from my personal experience as a former accredited veteran service officer, I could tell you that the Board of Veterans Appeals seemed to me to be very understanding of that example and would often rule in favor of veterans. So, evidence-based VA claims is where we come in to help you with all of that. What do we do for you? Well, again, we give you a free email consultation. Make sure that it's something that we think we can help you with. We're going to send you some information to go from. And then if we decide that we can take you on and help you with your understanding of your specific claim situation, then we move forward from there. Okay. So this is directly from our website, and it just gives you the perspective that we're coming from over here. Why use evidence-based VA claims? You should not, or you shouldn't. Why? Because veterans should seek free VA accredited resources first. And that is kind of our mission, is to drive that behavior. Sadly, not everybody has access to the same quality of veteran services. It's the sad truth. So we can sit here and pretend like everybody has access to some great veteran service organization or some great accredited veteran service officer and with a great team of veteran reps. But that's not the truth. Throughout the entire U.S., it's peaks and valleys, and we're trying to bridge that gap and avoid folks going to the pay 5 times your increase. All right. So again, on our website, you can complete the form or you can email us directly, and our email's on there as well. Our email is vaclaims@eb, that's Echo Bravo, ebvaclaims.com. And just email us and say, hey, I'm interested in consultation. And we will get back with you on that and start that process. What we do. Let's talk about what we do. Evidence-based VA claims will have a video conference with the veteran to formulate a plan to understand the veteran's evidence for which disabilities the veteran wishes to submit. We will use a 5-step process that will view increases, secondaries, denials, new claims, presumptives, and TERA. Presumptives and TERA are kind of in the same line. So it's not 6, it's 5. All right. What we do not do, okay, because the way that the laws are currently, we follow them. And I will tell you this, if you have anybody out there that offers to do these things, it's probably illegal. And if it's illegal, it could potentially be fraudulent. If it's fraudulent, you don't want to be in that boat. All right. We've all seen and read the Inspector General reports. So you don't want on that list. So this is what we do not do. We do not help veterans specifically submit VA disability claims through the various forms like the 526EZ, the 0995, the 0996, which that's your standard claim, your supplemental, your higher level, or any other VA forms. We do not help veterans log on to va.gov to submit VA claims of any type. We're not going to get your username, login information, and do that. It's illegal and thus could become fraudulent, which again is not what you want to do. You want to do this the right way. Lastly, we do not ask for use of any of your personal information for any reason. All right, so our 5 steps will surgically view your VA claim situation with the end state to have every veteran fully understand their maximum potential when it comes to VA disability compensation. And I will tell you this, and I've said it 1,000 times, nuanced. The VA disability compensation world is so nuanced that everybody's situation is different, and you need to have somebody sit there and go over your specific situation so you know how to maximize your benefits. Again, earned benefits. We didn't make the rules. This is part of our benefits package, and do not feel guilty for utilizing it. All right, so our process. So 1, the contract of understanding. You will read, understand, and sign the contract, send it back to us. Then we will collect a one-time payment of $13.99. We'll schedule that one-on-one for you. Evidence-based VA claims, we'll have that one-on-one with you. The one-on-one will go through increases, secondaries, denials, new claims, presumptives, and TARA. All right. And then next is quality assurance. Each one-on-one will be reviewed for quality to ensure each veteran is equipped to understand how to properly be rated, which again is huge, right? If you don't know what you need to do for your own specific situation, there's a problem. And oftentimes having this second set of eyes, especially when it comes from a team that has on it VA benefit professionals, subject matter experts, former accredited veteran service officer, former VA rater. There is a ton of knowledge on this team, and it's a small team on purpose to really benefit you. All right, so lastly, final correspondence. Each veteran will receive a document of their one-on-one recommendations along with accreditation options and self-submit options. We are teaching you how to maximize your claim process. Evidence-based VA claims will give a free email consultation based on our questionnaire that outlines your service, what you're connected for, and what you have been denied. With that, we'll also throw in a 1 free month of Veteran AI to help you understand what you can put together as far as your personal statements and so forth. Highly suggest you utilize it, but understand it in the sense that you need to read through it and make any specific changes for yourself. AI is not close your eyes and throw the dart. It helps you to formulate an articulate message, and then you go through and make sure that it is speaking correctly with the knowledge that we give you. All right, so with that, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.